In 1992, one man sat down and wrote a list. Not a business plan, not a feasibility study, a wish list. He wanted the lightest road car ever made, the most powerful naturally aspirated engine ever fitted to a road car, a central driving position, because he believed the driver should always be at the center of the machine. He wanted carbon fiber everywhere. No power steering, no traction control, no compromise. That man was Gordon Murray, and the car he built would become the McLaren F1, the greatest road car ever made. Gordon Murray had already changed Formula One forever. He designed the Brabham BT46B, the fan car, a machine so dominant it won on debut and was immediately banned. He built championship-winning cars for Brabham and McLaren. But by the late 1980s, he had one obsession he couldn't shake. He wanted to build the perfect road car. Not the fastest, not the most powerful, the perfect one. In 1988, he pitched the idea to McLaren. The brief was simple: no compromises, whatever it takes. Build the best driver's car in the world. The project was given a budget most manufacturers would consider insane, and Murray went to work. He chose BMW to build the engine, a 6.1-liter V12 developed specifically for the F1. No turbochargers, no superchargers. Pure, natural aspiration. It produced 627 horsepower, which in 1992 was a number that sounded like a misprint. The body was built entirely from carbon fiber. Murray obsessed over every gram. The car weighed just 1,138 kilograms, lighter than a modern hot hatch. And then, there was the seat. Most cars put the driver on the left or right. Murray put the driver in the middle, flanked by two passenger seats set slightly behind. It gave the driver perfect symmetry, perfect visibility, and the feeling that the car was built entirely around them. Because it was. McLaren built 106 road cars between 1992 and 1998. That's it. 106 cars. But the number that mattered most came in 1998, at the Aralesien test track in Germany. Driver Andy Wallace strapped in, pointed the car down the straight, and hit 240.1 miles per hour. 240 miles per hour. In a road car, with no aerodynamic aids designed to generate downforce. No spoilers cranked up for grip. Just a car, and a driver willing to find the limit. That record stood for 7 years. 7 years before anything came close. And when it was finally broken, it took purpose-built machinery costing 3 times as much. What made it even more remarkable was what the F1 didn't have. No traction control, no stability control, no launch control. The electronics were minimal. This was a car that demanded everything from its driver and gave everything back. Road testers who drove it described it as the most demanding, most rewarding, most terrifying machine they had ever sat in. And they all said the same thing afterwards. Nothing else came close. McLaren never intended to go racing with the F1. It was a road car. That was the whole point. But customers bought racing versions anyway. The GTR. Stripped, caged, and built for endurance. And in 1995, those customers showed up at Le Mans. Against dedicated racing prototypes from Porsche, Ferrari, and Toyota. Against cars with wings, slick tires, and full factory backing. Against everything a road car was never supposed to beat. The McLaren F1 GTR won. Not only did it win, it finished first, third, fourth, fifth, and 13th. 5 cars entered. 5 cars finished. In a race that destroys machinery, that kills preparation, and that finds every weakness in every car. The winning car, driven by J.J. Leto, Yannick Dalmas, and Masanori Sakia, averaged over 136 miles per hour for 24 hours straight. It is still the only time a manufacturer won Le Mans on their debut entry with what was, at its core, a road car. Gordon Murray never designed it to race. But the car was so fundamentally right that it won anyway. When the McLaren F1 went on sale in 1992, it cost just under £650,000. That made it the most expensive production car ever built at that point. And then, it depreciated. Like everything does. By the late 1990s, used examples were selling for less than their original list price. McLaren had stopped production. The world had moved on to newer hypercars with paddle shifts and turbos and infotainment screens. Then, something changed. People started to understand what the F1 actually was. Not just a fast car, but the last great analog hypercar. A machine built by one man's vision, with no committee decisions, no brand guidelines, and no compromises made for a global market. Values started climbing, then accelerating, then becoming genuinely hard to believe. In 2021, a McLaren F1 sold at auction for $20.5 million. $20 million for a road car built in 1994. That's not a typo. And it's not the only sale in that range. The cars that were being bought for under list price in 1999 are now worth 30 times what they sold for new. There is no other road car in history with a depreciation curve that dramatic. In reverse. Every generation gets one. One car that defines what a road car can actually be. In the 1960s, it was the Ferrari 250 GTO. In the 1970s, it was the Lamborghini Countach. In the 1980s, the Ferrari F40. The 1990s belonged to the McLaren F1. But what makes the F1 different from all of those, what makes it untouchable even today, is that it wasn't built to be the fastest, or the most dramatic, or the most expensive. It was built to be perfect. Gordon Murray set out to answer a simple question. What would a car be if you removed every compromise? If you forgot about cost, forgot about practicality, forgot about everything except the pure connection between a driver and a machine? The McLaren F1 is that answer. And 30 years later, no one has done it better. Not because no one has tried, but because nobody has been willing to care that much. If you made it this far, you already know what kind of car person you are. Subscribe if you want the full story behind every legend. Every week, no fluff, just the cars that mattered. Next up, why Pontiac disappeared, and why it was never coming back.